So if you're just starting your career or maybe you're about to, you've probably felt it. There's this tension in the job market, right? That path that seemed so straightforward just a few years ago now feels, I don't know, a little shaky, maybe even broken. We're going to talk about what people are calling the junior hiring crisis. It's a huge shift and it's leaving a lot of really smart people wondering, what do I do now? You know, a computer science grad recently used that exact word, cooked, to describe their job search. And look, if that word hits home for you, you are definitely not alone. There's this real anxiety out there for students and new grads, and I want you to know those feelings are completely valid. There's a real data-driven reason you're feeling this way. Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. This is the number that kind of stops you in your tracks. New research is showing that companies that are going all in on AI are hiring 13% fewer junior employees. Just let that sink in for a second. A 13% drop. This isn't just a vibe, it's a measurable trend, and it's got some pretty serious consequences. And here's the heart of the issue, and it's backed up by heavy hitters like Stanford and Harvard. While hiring for senior, experienced folks is holding steady, or even growing, it's the early career pros, people aged 22 to 25, who are facing way higher unemployment. It really feels like that entry-level door is starting to squeak shut. The huge question is, why? Well, it's because that traditional career ladder, the whole idea where you start at the bottom, you learn from the pros, and you climb your way up, that whole system is starting to break down. We really need to dig into the big systemic forces that are basically sawing off the bottom rungs of that ladder. Now, what's so fascinating here is how AI is having this completely different effect on different people. For senior employees, AI is like a superpower. It's a tool that makes them even better at what they already do. But for junior employees, AI is automating the exact tasks that used to be the training ground. Simple bug fixes, data entry, basic reports. That's where you used to learn the ropes. And now that training ground is just vanishing. And it's not just technology. There's been a huge cultural shift, too. Now, creating a career path for individual contributors, or ICs, was actually a great idea. It meant tech experts could keep growing without being forced into management. But, there was an unintended consequence. It kind of made it okay for senior people to opt out of mentoring. Hey, I'm an IC, not a manager, became this perfectly acceptable excuse to not train the next generation. And that has left a massive hole in guidance for new folks. So let's just put it all together into a simple equation. You've got AI taking over the training tasks. You add in a culture where senior mentorship isn't a given anymore, and then you throw in the fact that companies are laser-focused on this quarter's profits, not long-term employee growth. What do you get? A full-blown systemic crisis that no single person can just go out and fix. And this isn't just a headache for today's graduates. Nope, this is setting us up for a gigantic problem down the road. We're actually at risk of creating a missing generation of future leaders and experts. I mean, just think about this timeline. Right now, junior roles are getting cut. So in 5 years, that means there are fewer people ready to step into mid-level roles. And then fast forward 10, maybe 20 years, today's senior experts are going to retire, and who's going to be there to replace them? Who's going to have that deep experience to build complex things and make those tough calls? You can't just download that kind of wisdom. It's built on the very experiences that are now being eliminated. And this really gets to the heart of it all, the incentive problem. The whole deal between companies and employees has changed. I mean, the average time someone stays at a tech company is, 2 years? So from a company's perspective, there's not much financial reason to invest a ton of time and money training a junior employee who's probably going to leave anyway. They're optimizing for this quarter's earnings, not for building a talent pipeline for the year 2040. Okay, I know, that all sounds pretty bleak, right? A broken system, messed up incentives, a huge talent gap on the horizon. It's really easy to feel powerless. But this is the pivot point. Let's stop focusing on the giant broken system that you and I can't fix on our own. Let's ask the only question that really matters. In the middle of all this chaos, what can you actually control? Your power is right here. When an AI can write code, summarize a document, and analyze data in seconds, your competitive edge is your humanity. The answer isn't to become a better machine, it's to double down on the skills that AI just can't touch. We're talking about something called relational intelligence. What is that? It's your ability to build real trust, to influence people without having formal authority, to truly collaborate, and to navigate those messy, complicated human systems that make up any company. This isn't a soft skill anymore. This is your number one most important differentiator. So how do you actually build this? It's not about just going to more networking events. It's about being really intentional. It's about having a real framework to take back control over your own career path. All right, here's a super simple but really powerful way to think about it. Imagine your professional life has 4 key relationship types. First, guide. These are the people you help or mentor. Second, align. These are stakeholders you need to get on the same page with. Third, partner. Your peers, the people you work with every day. And fourth, network, your wider community. Each one needs a slightly different touch. So here it is, your action plan. 4 simple steps. First, identify. Make a list of the 10 to 30 people across those 4 groups who are most critical to your career. Second, nurture. Get genuinely curious about them. What do they need? How can you actually help them? Third, track. Pay attention to your interactions. Are you building real trust, or does it feel transactional? And finally, practice. Seriously, if you're a student, now is the perfect time. The stakes are low. Start building this muscle now. Let this one really sink in. Being good with people, collaborating, and influencing, those skills have always been a bonus for your career. But in a world with AI, they're not a bonus anymore. They are an absolute non-negotiable necessity for survival and for growth. So that leaves us with one final big question. As technology automates more and more of the technical stuff, the one thing you're going to have to prove to your team, to your boss, and to yourself is this: how are you uniquely human? Your answer to that question is what will define your entire career.